So what I would like to do to start with is to find out from you something you'd like to explore in this conversation, maybe something you'd like less of or more of in life. So do you have an idea of what that would be?
More or less of in my life at the moment. I suppose in a way it's more opportunities to use the wealth of experience and knowledge I've had through my working life to be able to share that with people in need of something that I'm offering. But not to go down, I suppose I've been working with very needy people over my working life, so it's trying to find another way of making my knowledge and experience available to people, which is going to be of help to them. And I suppose that's part of my, where I'm just needing to focus more is probably it's the 50 pluses.
Okay. So, so you said about more opportunities to use the wealth of experience that you've gained in life and find another way of making your knowledge and experience available to people.
Yeah. And I suppose it's interesting. Writing, I'm just beginning to get back to doing some writing, and I think that's another area I'd like to find a way of a focus of what I might do with that writing. It's a sort of been a through line in my life, and I've done a bit of poetry writing for a few years, but I've just been doing this online course, and it's just really giving me a real energy. So it's sort of trying to make use of that energy and see where that might take me with my writing. Yeah.
It makes me wonder what the connection is between finding a way to use your wealth of experience and the writing. Is the writing a way of expressing that and sharing?
I think so, because I suppose in a way that's what I'm trying to do, in LinkedIn, writing posts to try and get something out about things I feel strongly about, and to get some people interested in what I'm writing.
Okay.
So yeah, the two I think are linked.
Okay, so if I was to sort of reflect back over what you've said so far and try and pick out some sort of common theme from that, would it be fair to say, and if this is wrong, just say no, that's not it. Would it be fair to say this is about you finding a way to continue to be relevant and valuable and of worth?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's about standing alone. I mean, I think it's interesting in my work. I've been employed all my working life mostly, and I'm suddenly, I'm on my own, and that's a tough one because it's just me. But it's something I want to explore and develop, because I think I have things, and I want some recognition of that. Not in the fame and everything. I don't particularly, not looking for a bestseller, but I just feel I've got some things to say. It's been, it just feels the time to, come away from the shadow. I'm a very good team player. I'm a very good behind the scenes, a second, somebody who's a support. But actually, this experience of being self-employed, it's just me, and that's something new for me.
Would you say that going through the period of your life when you were employed, that you ever found or felt that self-expression was suppressed, or that you were not able to say what you wanted to say?
Yeah, I suppose there were areas. Yeah. And also, I didn't always have that courage to say it when I wasn't happy with things. You know, thinking actually, this is not what I think I should be doing or want to be doing. You know, systems get in the way. Management. I suppose my last job was in social work. You know, and suddenly it wasn't the job that I thought it was going to be, and you know.
Right.
Working very long hours, that's the default situation. Do I say, look, I'm just not going to do that, you know, working evenings and weekends? And I got stressed out, and I had to then deal with it, you know, from that standpoint, rather than saying, no, I'm not going to do this. If you want me to do these things, I'm paid to do this, I'm doing all I can. Yeah.
And did that ever feel at odds with the reasons why you got into social work? Was that about supporting, helping people?
I think it was. I'm a people person, and I found it's much more. I was having less time with the young people that I was meant to be representing and writing reports and, you know, advocating for. You know, I had an hour every 6 weeks if I was lucky.
Right.
And that just, I suppose, you know, when I went in, because I wasn't qualified, I went through the qualification on the job. So when I got there, suddenly it's not quite the job I thought it was going to be.
Was through advocacy, was helping those people or those young people to find a voice, was that ever a way for you to express yourself, for you to find your voice?
Yes, it was. It was. I suppose it was, because I was having to, you know, go to meetings and be places where, you know, learning from what I've heard about the young person, and sometimes to say things which may be not what people want to hear. You know, uncomfortable because I'm maybe criticising what's happening in school or what's happening in the foster placement. You know, right. So yes, there were times I felt I could.
And by speaking on behalf of that one individual person, of course, you're speaking on behalf of everyone who's affected by the system that's creating that problem, I guess. Yeah. Okay. And you said about standing alone, so whilst the system that you were part of had its limitations and its restrictions, it also was a system that supported you and enabled you to do that job or do the things that you wanted to do. And so I suppose in losing the limitations, you've also lost that system and the structure and the people and so on. And I get the impression that's not about getting things done in terms of logistics. It's more about a system of recognition and almost definition for you. Yes. That then you had a job title. And you know, I guess what to put on your business card or your LinkedIn profile is something I imagine you've struggled with.
Yeah. And I took a whole year, you know, when I finished, before I found life coaching. You know, I deliberately said I'm not going to go into something. I just need time, just to, you know, recover and get my energy back and let go of all those, you know, mixed feelings I had about the job, but also to be on another kind of voyage of discovery, because in a way that's the way my life has been. I've had a job and then it runs out, or I move on, and it's now a transition. So this was a big transition, you know, and all that you miss about being in a work situation, you know, particularly the people and that, you know, the social side of things, and as you say, being, you know, recognised, you've got a job and you know what it is, pretty much, and suddenly redefining yourself. And at my stage in my life, you know, not feeling that, you know, what is it you do is the question we go to. And I think I was trying to say, I'm not going to go on doing that, because that's not all we are. It's the limitations. It's been very good, and you know, for a time in your life, in a way, you need that, but it's still limiting in terms of what else is there about this person that, you know, makes them who they are.
So what does your LinkedIn profile headline say now?
I recently changed it because I think it's I'm not sure, I haven't got it in my head, but it's it's being a bit more listening. I think I'm using the listening because I just felt I just needed to make it my own a bit more. I think that's the bit I'm perhaps, I need to find ways of just saying this is who I am, which makes me different to other people, and I think that's what's unique about me that I can put out there, dare to put out there, and whether people will pick it or not, but it's I suppose it's trying to be honest about this is what I do and I offer, and trying to entice people in.
Was there a time in your life, maybe early on in your life, when you felt that you were not listened to?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's been part of the journey.
Yeah.
The suppression, I mean, that's the theme, one of the themes that's coming back,
one of the themes that I'm hearing from you this morning is opportunities to use the wealth of experience, making your knowledge and experience available to people, words like offer. I'm getting a sense that you're kind of passive in all of this, like you have something to offer and you're waiting for people to come to you and hoping that something like a LinkedIn profile or a post or something will somehow make people come. When, as you know, on these sorts of sites like LinkedIn, there are an awful lot of people
doing exactly the same
and shouting a lot louder.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that is necessarily an attractive thing.
No.
But I guess in some way you're comparing yourself to other people, and people on LinkedIn saying, if I get probably 2 or 3 new connection requests a week on LinkedIn from people who are offering to skyrocket my coaching business and get me loads of new clients and all that sort of nonsense. And they'll start with, hope you don't mind me connecting on this amazing thing, and I'll say, as long as your next message isn't a sales pitch, and then the next message is a sales pitch. So I guess they're recognising that this is a challenge for a lot of people in the coaching business. There's a lot of people qualified as coaches because of something they're searching for themselves, and maybe there are not enough clients out there to sustain that market. But that's been the case for the last 10 years. What I'm interested from your point of view is that what you described as courage, the courage to speak out, which we could say is independent of whether somebody's listening or not. So whether anybody's listening doesn't change the fact that you've got something to say and something that's valuable and of worth and something that's worthy of being recognised. So what is it that if you could really say anything at all to the world, what's the one thing that you want to say more than anything else?
Dare to be yourself.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that, if I may. If you have to dare, then there's something stopping you.
There's I suppose there's I suppose it's going back to, there are barriers, internal, external barriers to actually say this is who I am and this is, take it or leave it. So it's in that sense, can you find going back to courage, to just.
And even in that one, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Take it or leave it, again, it's an answer to a question that nobody asked. And the dare is overcoming a challenge that isn't there. So if we were, for a moment, to take away that challenge and set that to one side for a moment, so there's no daring involved, just do what you want.
To do what you want.
Then who is that? Who is yourself that you want to be?
Hmm. Compassionate and passion are coming through at the moment. I suppose I'm linking back to my early experience of the land and the earth, and there's something important about what's happening at the moment in the world, and that I want to be standing up for the damage that we are doing at the moment, and that we need to feel what is enough for us, what is going to be enough. I came across a quote just the other day: enough is a feast. To say that this acquisition of whatever that is, acquisition of things, of money, that we need to question, we need to understand what we're doing in what we're engaged in, and the effects that's having on us, on the earth, and people who suffer because of what we're doing.
So you say compassion and passion. The word passion actually means struggle, as in the Passion of Christ. I wonder if part of the challenge for you is the fact that you no longer have a system to fight against. I wonder if there's something in you, some drive in you that you're driven to challenge systems, to struggle, to define yourself by the system that you're struggling against. And in self-employment, you don't have one. And so the environmental cause, whilst it's a worthy cause and obviously has some personal connections for you, is also something for you to feel like you're fighting against something.
Yes, or I suppose I'd say perhaps fighting for.
Yeah.
Fighting for some justice in terms of what, people less fortunate than I am are suffering.
Yeah. So fighting for on behalf of and also against.
Yeah, which will then come up against that.
And so if what you wanted to say was to dare to be yourself, we almost can't take away the dare. The dare is you.
Yeah.
The challenge is who you are.
Yeah.
A rebel without a cause.
Oh no, I've got a cause at the moment. That's another thing I haven't talked about yet. But
and so you'll find a cause.
You'll
find a cause. And so you said, "This is who I am. Take it or leave it." That "take it or leave it" is a challenge to somebody else. If you don't like it, then tough. But again, there's nobody telling you that you can't be who you want to be or who you are. So who are you really?
I'm an individual who is find the word. I was going to say wounded, but that's not quite what I want to say. Frail is still not quite the word. makes mistakes is it's funny, isn't it, when you know what the word is you're finding, and I can't quite find it. Maybe it'll come to me. So there's something about I'm an individual who is dealing with my history of where I've come from, continuing to evolve. So that I can operate in a freer way in the world, freer from some of those shackles, some of those old messages, old constrictions.
Yeah. And again, the strange thing is that dealing with your history, if I was to look at you, if we met for the first time, how would I know what your history was? What?
Yeah,
I wouldn't, unless you tell me.
Yeah.
And you tell me through your fight, your desire to find a challenge, so that I can operate in a freer way, freer than
I have in the past. Yeah.
So,
but yeah.
So where are these constraints and these challenges and these barriers and these systems? Where are they really coming from?
Well, they're coming from inside, the internal constructs that I've made to deal with some of the early struggles I did have.
Right. So the narrative has become, I can't do X because of something that in my history. And maybe in that sense, it's then a way of keeping yourself safe. Mm-hmm. That if you hold yourself back, then you're safer.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you don't want to be held back because you want to get to somewhere that you can see that is a better place. Yeah. And so that's the struggle within you, and that consumes time and energy.
Yeah.
And life would be much simpler and easier if what?
Life would be much simpler if. If I wasn't held back by these constraints to voice my opinion in a more open way and a freer way, that I know I still don't always say what I'm thinking and what I feel.
Mm. And if you've acknowledged that these constraints are within you, created by you, then why would you want those constraints to still be there?
Because I still want to be liked. I don't want to upset people. I don't want to be challenged and be told that's rubbish what you're saying, dismantle me, dismantle my arguments.
And you know that as soon as you post something on social media or you speak up against climate change, that's all going to happen.
Yep.
So the paradox is this desire to speak out and tell your story, and as soon as you do that, you will be challenged.
Yeah.
You will be told that's rubbish. You will have your arguments dismantled, or at least attempted.
So I suppose it's finding a robust enough inner sort of strength to say, okay, that's fine. I hear what you're saying, but I'm still saying, well, it's still feeling, I suppose, resilient enough to be able to withstand whatever might come my way.
Yeah. And you would only need to withstand it if you felt that your position was weak to start with. Whereas somebody else could argue till they're blue in the face that your name isn't Nicholas.
Yeah. So that's, so it's having to, it's that inner confidence to stand and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to say,
And again, to challenge you on that, I'm not convinced that it's about inner confidence. It's more about you. I think you express yourself in a way that invites challenge. Either because that's what you expect, or because that's comfortable, or because actually it gives you some energy and some strength to know that there's a challenge to be overcome, that there's somebody to be convinced, that there's some biddy who doesn't agree with you who you're going to try and turn around. That actually your test of strength, and actually for anybody a test of strength only comes when we only know how strong we are when we try and pick something up that's heavy. So strength always has to be tested, a challenge always has to be created, otherwise we don't know what we're capable of. Do you play any sports, or have you ever played any sports?
Yeah.
What have you played?
Hockey, rugby.
Mm-hmm. So if you're playing something like a team sport like hockey or rugby, if you're always playing against the local school team and you win every game because you're bigger than they are, what do you learn?
Not a lot. Just you've got a better team, and you can get, I don't know, there's not enough challenge there. You get complacent. There isn't enough. Yeah, you don't necessarily improve either.
So the system of leagues and rankings and so on pushes you into always a system where you're starting to play people who are a lot better than you.
Yeah.
And you lose a lot.
Yeah.
And you don't get any better if you don't lose a lot.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right,
So your ability to express yourself and to form arguments and to communicate and as you said, through the writing, has developed because of that challenge. But also there will be times when that challenge just gets in the way unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And stops you from doing even simple things that you'd like to do.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to do about that?
I suppose I'm like to find platforms, ways in which I can start testing some of this out, of writing what I want to write about, and finding a platform, a way where I will get some kind of feedback of whatever kind that might be. So testing myself out, I suppose, testing what I want to say and see what happens.
And is that testing to see that there's no challenge, or testing to see that there is a challenge?
Yeah, see what happens with that.
Would you prefer, if you posted some contentious article thing on LinkedIn, would you prefer to have a bunch of comments saying how wonderful it is, or would you prefer to have a bunch of comments saying, well, I don't agree with that point?
I'd like a mix. But I think I need the negative. I think that, I suppose this is the whole thing with social media, isn't it? You know, people look for the likes, but actually, if we go back to the sporting analogy, in order to move on and to deal with some of the, what other people see in what you've written, the actual ones who disagree is where the learning can happen. And I think that's what I, in a way, that's what I would want. That would be the challenge for me.
And likes are nice, but I think the real objective in social media marketing is engagement. Yeah. And engagement is getting people to disagree with stuff and argue with each other.
Yeah. And that's something I need to learn and be more comfortable with.
I'm not sure it's something you need to learn.
No, okay. It's
I think it's a change in focus.
Yeah.
From getting people to like what you say to getting people to engage.
Yeah.
Actually getting people to listen.
Yeah.
Because it isn't you that needs to develop your listening skills, it's other people. Or the skill for you to develop is to be willing to make people listen. And what's the simplest way that you make somebody listen to you?
you make sure you're being heard, and you talk. You're in their face. No, I think that's a bit. It can be extreme, but you are attracting attention. Yeah.
If in their face means physically present, eye contact, then yes, of course.
Visible, being visible. Yeah.
So the challenge is, if you're waiting for somebody to listen after they've heard what you've got to say, they've already listened or not listened. How do you, before you say something that's valuable for you to express, how do you get people to pay attention and listen?
That's another bit.
What's the simplest way to do
that? Simplest way to do that? Well, I suppose it's by photo, by film, by video, on one level. I suppose I'm talking about social media, but we have to go out and meet them.
Right.
You have to go to
What's
places.
Something that you can... Because the problem is, if you're waiting until somebody's heard the message before they decide whether it was interesting or valuable or not, then it's already too late. You've got to get their attention at the start. So whether it's written or video or face-to-face or whatever, what's the very first thing you need to say to somebody to get them to listen?
I've got something you need to hear. I've got something important, something enticing, something...
Simplify it more.
Okay.
More direct, more simple.
I want you to listen to this.
To this. Simpler, more direct, more personal.
I want you to listen to me.
Shorten the still.
Listen to me.
How does it feel to say that?
Yeah, it's not my natural. It's not. It's interesting. Listen to me. Is quite alien to me in the way I operate and have operated.
Right. Would it be fair to say that when you were younger, when you found out to express yourself, that you were expected to listen to other people or listen to somebody else? Yeah. And so for you to say those words feels like you're taking that person's
listen
place.
to me, listen to me, yeah, absolutely.
Right. So it feels like you're taking the place of that person in a way that feels like, as you said, alien, feels like a dictator, feels like somebody who is opinionated.
It's quite a lot of negative connotations. Yeah.
So imagine yourself standing up in front of a conference, an audience, talking about something that's close to your heart, whether it's climate change or the environment or representing people in need in society or something like that. And imagine seeing this group of people in front of you in this huge auditorium, and imagine standing there, and imagine your first words being, "Listen to me."
Scary. It's quite scary.
Can you describe that scary feeling?
So I've got your attention, you're listening, hopefully. What is it now I'm going to deliver so that you continue to listen to me?
Yeah.
And how can I express it in a way which...
And I think that's the key, so that they continue to listen to you, is not under your control.
Yeah.
And has no bearing on whether you're saying something that's valuable for you.
Yeah.
And they can listen or not listen. It doesn't change the value of your message. So imagine standing there in front of this auditorium, you're about to speak about a subject that's very important to you, very close to your heart, that really taps into that lifetime of experiences that you've had. And imagine yourself starting with, "I'm going to tell you something extremely valuable." And how does that feel?
That feels good. It already feels some of that fear of what's going to happen. It kind of puts it in a context.
So now you imagine yourself in that auditorium, same situation, and imagine yourself opening with, I'm going to tell you something extremely valuable. Listen to me or don't listen to me. It doesn't change the truth.
That feels very powerful. Because it's
you
me.
look very powerful as you say it. Your posture changes, your facial expression changes.
Because, I was suddenly thinking, I heard this interesting 2 guys being interviewed, after the stabbing. And I thought they had valuable things to say, in terms of we need to continue working with these people, even though what's happened is tragic. And I suppose that's just touched on me, those, prison systems, if we don't do this work, and the risk involved. I suppose it's the risk element, what are we doing? What are we doing with people who get locked up? And the people are a threat, and we can't negate the risk, but we can't guarantee everything's going to work out.
How do you feel differently now?
I just feel energy. I just feel suddenly, I could get up and
and
stand
I can feel
in front
it.
of
I
these
can
people.
sense your energy levels gone up.
Yeah.
And what you just said about the the incident in London, that sounds like what you formed is something that you might want to share in through some channel, whatever that might be. I don't know, but that sounds like something that you formed as maybe not a unique opinion. There's other people who share that view and other people who have very different views. None of which changes the fact that it's your considered opinion.
Yeah.
Your truth. What do you feel like doing now?
I was going to say, I feel like standing up and having seeing what comes up when I think what's valuable. I've got something valuable to say. It feels like I need some practice. I suppose it feels like, in a way, what I came here in the back of my head was, this is what I need to be doing.
Right.
This is, whether it's for my coaching, it's whether it's involved in what I'm doing with my wife and this big project, this global peace march, peace walk. What is it? Getting down to what you were saying, right down to this is what the message is, and this is how to deliver it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think even going back to what we talked about earlier with, was it dare to be yourself, or this is who I am, take it or leave it. When that message gets confused, you're putting something in front of it or behind it, and in front of it is gonna distract people or switch them off, and afterwards is a question nobody asked, and the bit in the middle is the message. And I think you can practice that and look through your writing as well, and your posts, and see how much noise you create before and after the thing you actually want to say, and then just say that. But I think in part what you were attempting to do was what most people do, which is control somebody else's response to your message to make sure that it came across in the right way, and so on. And whatever they think of your message doesn't change the fact that it's true for you.
I think.
And you said opportunities of practice or more chance to practice. I think you spent a lifetime practicing what you're going to say. I don't think that's the issue.
Yeah.
And I think you are probably presented with many opportunities to stand up and say what's valuable and what's true, and probably find a way to not notice a lot of them or turn them down.
Gosh, I didn't know we were going to get to this place.
How does it feel to get to this place?
That feels very good. I mean, it feels it's simplified things a lot for me, and I think the obstacles simplification, obscuring things. That I think you're right in terms of I'm just not letting myself, this is the message, take it or leave it. That I'm packaging it to make it okay, but rather than just saying getting to the message straight away. And presenting it in a way, say, this is me, I'm valuable, and listen to me. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Wow, this is me, I'm valuable, listen to me.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
How does it feel to say that now?
No, it feels very, very focused and very powerful and very freeing. Very freeing.
And I think what you described in the way of getting to that point of focus, I think the word that you were looking for earlier, when you said I'm an individual who is, and you couldn't find the word, and you said wounded, frail, makes mistakes, is dealing with your history, continue to evolve. I think the word you were looking for in that, you know what that word is?
Well, fragile comes to mind, but still not quite the word.
Uh-huh. I think you know what the word is.
It's the memory. It's funny, isn't it? Just picking that out.
I think you know what the word is, but the behaviour or the pattern of behaviour that stops you from expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Paradoxically doesn't want to say the word, because the word itself is a potential weakness. But actually your greatest strength starts with a V.
Vulnerable. Yeah.
And I think what you said in getting to this is me, I'm valuable, listen to me, and take it or leave it, and whether anybody listens or not, that's showing vulnerability. And cognitively, logically, that a leader who is willing to show their vulnerability is actually strong. The leader who pretends they're not vulnerable is weak, because they're putting all their focus into hiding the thing they don't want you to see. By hiding it, they actually tell you where it is. The person who's willing to show that they're vulnerable is showing that they have flaws, but that those flaws are not weaknesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Say that again. Listen to me, I'm valuable. This is me, I'm valuable. Listen to me.
This is me. I'm valuable. Listen to me.
I felt that then. I felt that. That was like I felt like I was being held in my seat by some invisible force. That was quite strong, actually.
Thank you. Yeah.